Guys, I wanted to do a little story time about probably the only time in my life I've traveled on a plane solo. And I ended up losing my freaking AirPod in the process. And now it's come full circle. I've actually lost my entire AirPod case. So I guess this video is pretty much useless. But this is a great story. This is back in November of 2020. Right at the heart of the pandemic, I was traveling back from Montana to my home. We're not going to get into all the specifics, why I was out there. I have personal problems, things like that, whatever. But we had, so I'm traveling from Montana to Ohio. There's a layover in Texas. So I'm going from Montana, Billings, Montana, to Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. That's the first trip, and then I'm going from Texas to Ohio because you can't do direct from Montana to Ohio. So I get onto, number one, the airport in Billings. I think they ended up remodeling it, but it is a Class A shithole at that airport. And you would guess, it's Montana. What do you think? But they were bragging, saying they were going to remodel it, so maybe they did remodel it. But very, very small airport. I get to the, airport really early. They have great service, whatever. I get onto the plane, and the dude I'm sitting next to is probably about 2 years older than me. So very similar in age. And we take off, whatever. He has his brother who's in another seat, and then their mom and whatever, and they're traveling to Texas to meet family. We were talking, things like that. I ended up, you can tell when people are gullible. I ended up talking to this dude, and I seriously did convince him that, my family knew Trump, and we were talking and whatever. And so as we were talking, originally I had my AirPods in, right? You have your AirPods in, you're listening, you're taking off, whatever. I take them out. I was talking, you guys, I use my hands a lot, things like that. I have my AirPods in my hands. And I'm talking and I'm telling him all these fake stories. It's just for fun, whatever. We're trying to get past the time by. He did believe it because there are gullible people. But I was like, my family's in connection with Trump. We're great friends, whatever. We were talking about it. And as I was talking, I must have banged my two AirPods together. And the one AirPod, I have the window seat, right? That's the other thing. It's a two-seater. I've got the window seat. I think it was 2 and 2 on each side. It had to have been that because this is a small plane. We're going from Montana. It's a small plane. My one AirPod, I think I was talking like this. My one AirPod clangs and it must have hit the side of the wall, where the window is, and it fell down. And you're thinking, no problem, whatever. It's a carpet floor. It's not going to roll anywhere. I'll just pick it right up. But I look down there. It's not down there. It must have somehow gotten stuck in one of the crevices. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll just reach my hand in between the seat and in between the wall to get this thing. And guys, you wouldn't believe this. If you go on, I don't know what type of plane it was. I think it was a United flight. But I was like, how is this possible? There's literally this small ass pipe in between the wall and the seat. There's a small little pipe. I couldn't get it. It must have gotten lodged in there. And guys, you would not believe what we ended up doing. So me and this guy, we switched seats. He ends up going under the seat. We ripped the seat apart. We got the lady coming in, the flight attendant, yelling at us to put our masks on. I thought they were gonna say, "What are you doing?" The flight attendant comes in. The seat is basically decapitated. We've completely ripped it up to try and get to this thing. We've taken the top off of the seat. I think I might have a video of it. I'll have to try and find it. We'll have to see if I can find the video of just what was going on. But he's trying to get to it. His fingers were too big. My fingers were too big. So then he's got a 9-year-old brother. And this is where, it's his brother comes over. His brother's, whatever. He's got smaller fingers. He tries to get into it. I think he ended up pushing it further back into the tube that it was stuck in. It's like this little crevice. We just couldn't get the thing. And then it got really weird because I moved seats. I was on the window. It gets stuck. The dude tries to help me. His brother comes over to try and help me. Now I'm in the aisle seat. and his brother like stopped trying to help and just kind of stood there, and he was literally right in my lap. And I was looking like a friggin' pedophile or something with this kid in my lap. I was like, can you get your brother off of me? It was not a good situation for me. And what ended up happening is we could not get the thing. I literally lost my left AirPod on the plane. Long story short, we land, we're at the gate. I tell the dude, listen, I can't get the damn thing. It's stuck. They tell me, your ass out of luck. They said, you're not getting it. It's gone. We're not ripping the seat open. And I had to go home. And then I had another major issue when I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth. And guys, you wouldn't believe this airport, the stuff with it. So it's so big that, and it's probably not, compared to other airports, it's probably not even that big. But you have to take the trains. You ever go to an airport, you got to take the trains to the gates. So they got gates 1 through 7. That's at part A. You take the trains to 8 through 14. You take the trains to, you got to go through a train. You got to go through a train. So we get on I was going to get on the train. It's about an hour layover. It's no big deal. I don't have to pass through security, obviously, because it's a layover flight. And I'm going to get on the train, and apparently there was some type of threat. So I'm like, what's going on here? And everyone's panicking. There's some threat. It's stupid. The trains are not running because of the threat. And so people started to explain. They brought this worker out, and we're standing trying to get on this train. I'm trying to get to the C section or whatever it is, because I got to go through the train. And they said, well, you can either wait and hope that the threat neutralizes to where it's safe for the trains to go, or you can go outside, come back in through security. And at this point, there's probably 30 minutes until my flight boards. And I'm like, obviously, that's not an option. People were pissed. What ended up happening, about 15 minutes left, they finally cleared whatever the threat was. I don't know if, who knows with these airports with the threats. But they cleared it out. It was fine. We took the train, and I got to my gate, and they were literally boarding. I actually went to get Panera Bread, actually. And then it barely made it. But so that was that situation. And then I get back home. That was a tough flight for me, right? 21st century problems. I didn't have AirPods. And I get back home. So I still have my right AirPod. And believe it or not, guys, you can order another AirPod online. And I did that. And it was like $50. I mean, it's just with Apple, everything is expensive. It's literally $50 to order the single left AirPod piece. Just the pod, just not the case, not the right, just the left. It came in a little baggie, and I ended up getting it, and it was fine. I think these were the AirPods 2nd generation, whatever. But fast forward it to about maybe 3 weeks ago, and everything's going fine. I've got my AirPods. I've had them for over 2 years. It's perfectly fine. I listen to podcasts sometimes when I eat dinner and things like that. So I was listening to a podcast. I had my AirPods in. I took them out. I put them somewhere, I guess you would think. And the next morning I wake up, I'm ready to go to the gym, and I'm ready to get my AirPods. So there's normally 2 places my AirPods are. They're either on my desk, they're not there, or they're on my dresser, they're not there. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm sure I just left them in my pocket or something. I start looking deeper and deeper. This becomes more of an issue. They're nowhere to be found. And guys, let me just tell you, a message to Apple. You've got the little Find My AirPod thing, right? You think that would work because I have it on my phone and I looked for it and it's all connected. Guys, trust, this has happened to me twice now. It only works if the AirPod case is open. Otherwise, it won't find them and it won't make a noise. Your AirPods will not make a noise if you don't have the case open. I don't know what genius programmer at Apple thought that was a good idea. But yeah, let me lose my AirPods and then just miraculously have the case open. The case magnetically shuts. It magnetically shuts closed. So why would it be open if I lost my AirPods? There's no way. It makes no sense, but that's what it is. So I don't know where my AirPods is. I'm at the point where if somebody came to my house and found my AirPod case, I would just give it to them. Because I don't know. And the thing is, it couldn't have gone anywhere. It literally said my AirPods were last connected at like 6 o'clock at night. I didn't go anywhere that night. and the next morning they're gone. And there's no way they could have gotten stolen. They're somewhere here. I started to think, did my cat, I don't know, eat the things? I mean, or like kick them somewhere? I don't know. But I like did a full cleaning of my room. So we had the situation where I lose the AirPod and then I lose the entire case. But that's probably my most fun. I guess it wasn't fun, but it was definitely an interesting travel experience from Montana to Texas and then Texas here. And we were on the plane. It was with the whole situation, things like that. It was definitely interesting. And I just wanted to share that little story of the time that I lost my, I guess, left AirPod. Now it doesn't matter because I lost the whole damn case at my home. That's how dumb this whole thing is. But either way, the traveling situation, the only time I drive my car and stuff like that, but the only time I took a plane solely, right? Because we've been on vacations, things like that, whatever, but the only time I did it solely, it was basically a disaster, and we ended up ripping up a seat, and I'm shocked they didn't try and bill us for it. I mean, we broke the damn seat. Yeah, we broke it. We tried putting it back together and covering it up, but the whole thing was the top of it, the cushion, we couldn't get back in place. We could put it back on and make it look like it was good. And they ended up leaving and getting off, and they were like, good luck to you. And I asked the dude, it wasn't the cat, it was like one of the flight attendants. I'm like, it was a male. I was like, what can we do about this here? He's like, yeah, you're screwed. They tried calling someone, and then the person that they called, it was like a tactician for United Airlines. And I got 1 hour until my next flight. And that thing, to this day, I guarantee you that thing is stuck in a metal tube on a United flight. And it's a 2-seater on each side. And it's in the window. Now, it's like, it's this weird thing where they've got it. I mean, originally, I was mind-blown that this could even happen. I was talking, my AirPod got flung against the wall. I was like, okay, let me pick it off the ground. Isn't that a normal thing to think? Maybe it's stuck in the seat. Let me reach in and grab it. But no, it doesn't work like that. It gets stuck in a little metal tube. I don't even know how that thing even exists. This was an older plane. I bet you they don't even have these on new ones. But guys, just an interesting story there, a little story time. But guys, make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, The Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.